Hello everyone. A very good morning to all of you. So welcome all of you on day third of web designing web series for the beginners. I hope you all have the wonderful session on last 2 days with a practical experience. Now we would like to move on the day third. So without wasting much time, I would like to invite Mr. Akash sir to start the session. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
So good morning, everyone. Welcome to day third. So as you know, in 2 days we have discussed about the basics of HTML, basics of CSS, and now today we are going to start a few topics in a CSS and then JavaScript. Right? I hope you guys are ready to learn JavaScript today, and tomorrow we will discuss about the jQuery and Bootstrap, and the day 5 will be a WordPress. Okay. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to day third in the web designing web series is for the beginners. Okay, so now let me share my screen. Okay, I hope my screen is visible to you. And just a second. Okay, so now as you know, in 2 days we have discussed various topics in HTML, in CSS, and see, let me give an introduction for that first. So you know very well, in HTML we have seen a hyperlink tag, image tag, table tag, form tag, and basics of CSS. That is internal, external, and inline CSS, right? So I hope I am audible and my screen is visible. You can write in the chat section yes if you can see my screen, and if you can if I'm audible. Okay, so now what is next? So today we will discuss about the CSS remaining part, that is a CSS. Just a second, where is my PPT? I know you guys love my PPT, so just a second. Okay, so today we will discuss about the CSS class day 3, in which I will cover the basics of outline, text, and other properties, right? So for an example, so yesterday we have seen a basics of CSS in my program. That is a, where is my program? That is a demo.html. No, it's a css1.html. So right click and open in default browser. Okay, so you can see there are 3 different types of method to declare your CSS. One is inline, second one is internal, and the third one is that is an external CSS. Okay, so if we talk about the various property of CSS, so what is next? So next is some of the text property and outline. For an example, I want to display some outline. For an example, you can see in the screen, the CSS outline properties specify the style, color, and width of an outline. For an example, let's say I want to display some outline over here, right? So here you can see this is an outline which contains some background color, that is a green color. Okay, so you can simply define a div tag. I hope you know the basics of div tag. Yes or no? You can write in the chat section. Okay, so for an example, let's say don't worry, today I will give a demonstration of the website structure, how to create your basic website layout with the help of table tag, with the help of div tag, and also you can create your website with HTML5 tags. Okay, so div tag, we can say it's a division tag. Division itself says you can divide your layout, you can divide your website layout, right, in some portion. So for an example, let's say I want to specify a border. For that I want to specify some padding, right? And here you can see that is a property, that is outline style. You can see it's a dotted line over there. Okay, so here you can see this is an outline border. Okay, so for an example, you can also say this example. So it's contain a one div tag, and outside the border, outside the box of the div, you can see there is a one small dotted line. Okay, so next, let's say if I want to specify some colors, so I need a color. For an example, here you can see we can specify a simple property, that is outline color. Okay, so chocolate, I love this color, this is a chocolate color. So you can see we can also specify a property, that is outline color. Okay, so now you can also specify the width, that is outline width. let's say if you want to make it thinner or thicker, then you can specify the width of the border. Okay. So now let's say we can also specify all property in a certain property text. For an example, here you can see the outline contains a size and then dotted and the red color. So we can specify these three different properties in a certain property. Okay. So now the outline offset property add a space between your outline and the edge or border of an element. For an example, let's say this is my simple property, that is outline offset, and here you can see this is a space between the element of your border or border element and your tag. Okay. And the most important property is a text. For an example, let's say whenever we are creating a website, so we have to format our HTML text or HTML elements, and the text is very important element for the website. So you can format the text, maybe color, font size, font face, right? So the first property you know very well. Yesterday we have seen how to change the color of the font. So you can simply write the color, and you have to specify the property, that is color red. So your text color will be changed with red color, right? Okay. You can also specify alignment. Let's say I want to make it center. So there is one property, text align. So it will display your text in a center alignment. Then next, text transformation. For an example, in most of the case, we want to display our text in an uppercase, maybe in a lowercase, or maybe in capitalized, right? So we have a text transform property in which you can specify uppercase, lowercase, and capitalize. So your case will be changed in a respective values, right? For an example, if you are specifying uppercase, so this text will be converted into uppercase. So normally, if we don't have this kind of property, then you know very well we have to rewrite this statement again, and we have to make it in uppercase, right? But thanks to this property, because of this property, we can simply change the text transform, right? So for an example, you can see this is uppercase, this is a lowercase, and this is a capitalized actually. Okay. So letter spacing. For an example, in some time we need a space between two letters, right? So I know you can use ampersand and BSP, or you can also add some white spaces between two letters, but that is not a good practice. So what we can do, we can simply add one more property, that is a letter spacing. So for an example, if I'm specifying the letter spacing property over here, that is a 5 pixel, right? So you can see there is a space between two letters. Okay. For an example, if we specify 10 or 20, so it will reflect. Okay. So you can also specify the word spacing. For an example, I need a space between two different words. So you have to specify word spacing, that is a 8 pixel, right? So you can see there is a space between two words. Okay. So text shadow. Sometime we need some effect in our font, right? So especially, I love this effect, that is a text shadow. Simply in PowerPoint, you can also apply the same property, right? So text shadow property in which you have to provide this value. Let me give you a demonstration for first, so you can see. So this is a div tag, and you can see it contains a yellow color, right? Okay. So that's it. Okay. So now that's it. So let's moving to the next topic, that is CSS day 4. So if we talk about the font, link, list, and property. For an example, let's say font property. I want to add some font in my website, right? Especially the CSS font property define the font family that is a boldness, size, and the style of a text. The font family of a text is set with the font family property. So you can see we can specify the font family, that is a monospace, sans serif, and you can see this is a difference between these two fonts, right? So normally you can also search from the internet, and by default, you know very well. For an example, let's say if I open my control panel, and here you can see where is my font? Just a second. Okay, so you can see by default we have this kind of fonts in our system, right? But this is a local fonts. But if you want to add a font in your website, either you can use a reference of particular fonts, right? And you can also add your custom font in your website. Okay, so font family is also important property. Let's say if you are building a website for international client, right, they always notice your font family. But in India we always focus on the colors, right? So let's say if we talk about some various website, so let's say if I open Indeed is a #1 job portal in all over the world, right? So you can simply open this website, and here you can see it's simple layout, right? It's very simple layout, but you can see the font is not do it's okay, not good, not bad, right? So the structure is very important. You can see it's look like a Google. So if you click on the find jobs, for an example, if I search PHP developer, here I can specify Ahmedabad, Gujarat. So you can see the various jobs are there. So here you can see the font phase is maybe it's a different one, right? So if you want to check, simply you can right click on it, or you can simply press Control U. So you will get lots of idea. But yes, we have to wait for you have to read all the code, and you can simply open the CSS. Where is CSS? Okay, I know it's very difficult to read. So here you can see the font having a 10 pixels, Arial, sans serif, margin, padding, a background color. So lots of properties are there, you can see. Okay. Okay, so what is next? So next is, let's say, the font style. Let's say if I want to make it bold, italic, I know you can also do the same things from your HTML code, right? But let's say if I want to do over here, with the help of CSS, we can also change the italic, normal, or bold one, right? Okay. The font size you can define with the help of font size property. Okay, that is a 50 pixel or maybe 10 or 20. Okay, so font weight, if I want to make it bold, then you have to write the property. I know it's very easy, and that's why I'm navigating my slide very faster, right? So font weight is a property in which you can convert your font into bolder one, right? Then font variant. So let's say in font variant, let me give you output first. So you can see the font variant output is like this. For an example, the font variant properties specify whether or not a text would be displayed in a small caps font. For an example, I want to display a font like this, right? Small caps, you can see. So here you can see it's a normal font, that is a P tag, right? But if I'm specifying ID over here, you can see the difference between these two one. It's a capital one, but it's a small one, right? Okay. So links, you know very well, whenever you are defining a link in your website, right? For an example, hyperlinks, we can say. So by default, it will display a blue color. If I click on the particular link, the color will be changed, right? So if you want to specify some different colors for the hyperlink, so here you can see in Indeed, the hyperlink color is different one, not a actual one, right? So you can also change the hyperlink color with the help of this A tag, and you can specify the color, right? It's the same simple thing. Okay. So next is, let's say if you want to change the color of link, a visited link, a hover, or active, right? And that's it. Okay, so you can specify a link color for the normal link. If someone visited the link, you can specify the color for the visited link. And if I mouse over on the particular link, so for that you can also specify the different color. Okay, a link is a moment when it is click, means whenever you're clicking on the particular link, the color will be changed. So we can see in link we have a 4 different states: a active link, a visited link, a hover, and the link when you click on the particular link, right? Okay, so you can specify the different states and different color for each states. So you can see this is a basic example, right? Let me give you a demo. Simply copy this and here you can paste it over here. Okay, I know this is very funny color: red, yellow, blue, and black. And simply just copy and paste it. It's done. So you can see it's a black, it's normal, and if I mouse over on this, it's changed. But if I click on this, see, right? Okay. So what is next? So text decoration. So let's say text decoration properties are mostly used to remove underlines from a link. Let's say I want to remove a link. So by default, you can see navigation or hyperlink having some underline. So I want to remove this. So what we can do, we can specify where is my link? Ahref. Okay, so here I can specify a text decoration colon null. It's null. Okay, so link is gone. Not link, but actually the underline is gone. Okay, so what is next? So next is, let's say this is a simple example and you can take a snapshot and then you can perform it in your computer. Okay, and you can also search this kind of property in the Google. There are lots of websites are there, and you can also copy the same properties from the internet. It's not a different one in my computer. Actually, this is a common property for everyone, and you can search in the Google and you will get lots of property from the internet. Okay, so what is next? So next is list. So let's say if you want to specify some list type: circle, circular, square, upper Roman, and lower normal, lower alpha. So you can use this list. We have seen this kind of UI and li tag yesterday in the first half, right? So you can specify the circle like this. So for an example, let's say if you want to specify some designing or some property, we have a CSS, we can say. Okay, so this is a basic example. List type is a square, it's upper Roman, it's lower alpha. Okay, so now let me give you one live demonstration. Just let me start new program for today, that is css2.html. Okay, so just close this, close this, close this. Okay, so today we are going to create one HTML based website layout with the help of table. Okay, I know table is outdated nowadays, but we can create a website layout with div tag HTML5, right? I will share one link with you, so you can also perform the same task in your computer. Okay, so first of all, what we need a basic structure. So that is head and body. Okay, so for an example, let's say first of all I need a table tag. Inside the table tag, we have to specify one border. Border equals to 1. So if I refresh my page, so here you can see we have one table tag having border 1, but it's not visible at all. Okay, so no problem. Just switching back to your code. Here you can specify one TR. TR stands for table row. Inside the table row, what we can do, we can define one table data. So here I will write H1 Akash Techno Labs. Okay, so this is my TR. A TR having one TD and TD having one H1 tag. So if I refresh this page, you can see this is my title. But I want to make this title in a full screen. So what we can do, we can specify the width. So width will be 100%. Okay. Please change your text editor color. Text is not shown proper. Okay. So preference, color themes. Okay, I hope now it is visible. Actually, I hate this color. I hate this white color, but it's okay. So now this is my table border. Okay, so if I refresh this, you can see it's a full screen. Okay, so now I want to make it in a center alignment. So you can write the center tag and center. So it's done. Okay, so this is my title, and let's say now I want to create one new tr for the hyperlink. So I will start one new td, home, about, then pipeline, a contact. So it's done. So if I click on this, so you can see. Okay, so this is my heading part. This one is my menu part, and now I want to display one news over here. Okay, so I want to display one news. For news, I will use a marquee tag. So tr td. So marquee, marquee, right? So with the help of marquee tag, you can display a scrolling text. For an example, welcome to web series day 3. Okay, so if I refresh this, so you can see with the help of marquee, the text will be scroll. Okay, so let's say scroll on mouse over, right? But just a second. Right now, just focus on the basic part. Once we will start the JavaScript, then I will do some more functions in the market. Okay, so let's say the next is tr. So inside the tr, I will write td. This is my content area. This is my content area. So here you can specify the content. And now if I refresh this, and you can see this is my content area. Okay, so next is, let's say I want to make it a bigger one than style. The height we can specify around 400 pixels. Okay, yeah, you can specify. Actually, I know it's not a responsive website. I know very well that, but it's okay. But we can define one layout over here. Okay, so now the next tr for the footer. So inside the tr, we will specify one td and website developed by Akash. So if I click on this, so you can see website developed by Akash. Okay, so it's done. So let's say if I want to change the color, or if I want to add hyperlink, you know very well how to add the hyperlinks over here. Okay, so you can simply make it ahref, right, for home, about, and contact. So this is a basic layout of your website. With the help of table tag, you can create. So you can also create a layout with the help of CSS and also with the help of HTML file. Let me give you one reference for this so that you can refer this website. I know if I do the coding, so it will take lots of time, right? Because we have to cover the JavaScript today. So here you can see, let me run this code. 1, 2, 3. So this is a basic layout with table tag, right? So this is a basic layout with table tag. You can see it's a table, tr, td, tr, td, tr, td, right? So here you can see it's a ul tag having a property that is a list style none, padding, line height, a background color, and etc. So this is a second example of a div based website. So here you can see there is no table tag at all, right? So div tag, you can see this is a nested div tag over here. So this is a main div tag. The class name is a container. So container, you can see the width will be 100% and background will be this one. Okay. So inside the container, you can see the next div is a wrapper, means the container having a wrapper class. So inside the wrapper, you can see where is this? Just a second. Okay. So you can see the various properties are there over here. Okay. So the nav bar is there, then section and footer. So simply you can also create your website with the help of div. Div means you can create a block in your website. For an example, let's say I want to define one division. So you can define the div and you can change the color, style, background color, red. So let's say if I refresh this, sorry, and we have to specify the height 100 pixel, and width 100 pixel, right? So this is a particular block. We can say div means it's a division block, right? So you can see a div tag having 100 height, 100 width, and background color will be red. So for an example, if I want to define one more div over here, so you can specify the div tag background color yellow, right? And the height will be 200, width will be 200. So if I refresh this, you can see this is my second div. Okay. So division means a block, right? Same as table. So whenever you are defining table in your website, it contains your layout. Okay. Same thing. If you want to define a particular layout in your website, so you can use the div tag, right? Okay. So now, so this is a simple example with the table tag, this one with the div tag, and the third one with the HTML5. So in HTML5, we have a header tag, a nav tag, and footer tag, and also the section, right? So in HTML4, we have a basic tag that we have seen previously. And in HTML5, you can also use this kind of tags. Okay. So I'm sharing this link with you. So you can refer this code and you can also implement for your website. I know you are asking for the PPT on daily basis, but it's a common PPT. So you can also refer a particular website. Okay. I hope the chat is enabled. Hiren sir will give the will share the link in the chat section. Okay. So now what is next? So let's moving on the next topic. I know CSS3 is there, but today we have to focus on the JavaScript also. If you know the basics of JavaScript, then and then you can learn the jQuery, because jQuery is also important thing, right? So now next is JavaScript. Do you know what is JavaScript? Yes or no? You can write in the chat section. Okay. So now, what is next? So next is JavaScript. So JavaScript is what? So what is JavaScript? JavaScript was designed to add interactive to HTML pages. Okay. So now, let's say JavaScript is a scripting language. I know if we talk about the JavaScript, then first you will think about the Node.js, AngularJS, and React.js. Forget about that, right? Right now, we are focusing on the introduction of the JavaScript. So scripting language is a lightweight, a programming language, we can say. A JavaScript usually embedded into your HTML pages. Okay. So for an example, JavaScript as is an interpreted language means that a script executed without preliminary compilation, means your code will be compiled in your browser itself. No need to install any software for that. Let's say if you are working in C programming or C++ or maybe in Java, so first you have to install a compiler, right? But in JavaScript, no need to install any compiler in your computer, right? So by default, browser will compile your code and it will print into your particular response. So everyone can use JavaScript without purchasing a license. It's totally free, right? So who can what JavaScript can do? So JavaScript gives a HTML designer a programming tool. A JavaScript can put dynamic text into HTML page. A JavaScript can react to events. For an example, if someone click on the buttons, then and then some particular action will be required, right? A JavaScript can read and write HTML elements. For an example, if I need a particular value from the text box, or if I want to add some value in the particular text box, so we can do vice versa. Okay. So then what is next? So next is JavaScript can be used to validate the data. That is the most important thing. For an example, if someone is entering some data in the text box, but now I want to check whether data is validate or not. For that, JavaScript is very useful, right? Because in HTML we don't have any conditions, or we don't have any. Yes, nowadays we have HTML5 validations. I know very well. But if I talk about the older version of HTML, there is no kind of this kind of functionalities are there. And JavaScript can be used to detect the visitor's browser, and it can be used to create a cookie. So with the help of JavaScript, we can create the cookie. So what is cookie? So cookie is a small file which stores your data, and it will store in your browser. So for an example, whenever you are visiting a particular website, for an example, let's say if I open Flipkart, right? So here you can see, just close this. So here you can see the cookie. The cookie contains lots of data. So see, this is my cookie. So the cookie 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, right? So that's it. So cookie is a small text file which stores your data in your browser. Okay. So let's say how to start JavaScript. Can we also use VBScript? No. So to start the JavaScript, we have to write this function. That is a script type equals to text JavaScript. And for an example, if you want to print something in your screen, then we have to write the document.write, right? So document.write, with the help of, you can print something on your screen. For an example, let's say, just copy this. I know I'm very lazy. So simply open js1.html and simply you can paste it over here. It's not working, so it's okay. So HTML, then body, so head tag, so script. So whenever you want to write some JavaScript over here, you have to use this script opening tag, and you have to specify type text / JavaScript. Okay. So now what is next? So this is my script opening tag and script closing tag. So now if I want to print something over here, so we can use the document.write, and inside the double brackets we can use any HTML tag. So let's say document.write, and inside the either we can write h1 or maybe h2, and simply, hey, I am JS. JS stands for JavaScript. If I right click, open in default browser, so you can see, hey, I am JavaScript. So if you open your code in view source, so you can see this is document.write, and hey, I am JS. Okay. So how both different from each other? VBScript is not used over here. The right position for script tag is always under head texture. No, you can write anywhere. Yes, but by default there is some restriction. But yes, we can use in anywhere. See, if I write over here, it's working same. You can see. Okay. But for best practices, always try to write your script after the body tag. Okay. Why? Because let's say whenever you are loading your JavaScript in head tag, it will take some time. So JavaScript is not required as initially, because the first we need a CSS and the basic layout of the website, and the scripting tag will be loaded at the end of the website, right? So you can simply write the script at the end of your body. So this is a base practice. But yes, right now we are just doing a testing, so that's why we can put over here. Okay, so this is the basics of a demonstration of the document dot write. Simply, let's say if I want to print one message box, so we have one alert control, alert alert. I hate this white color, it looks welcome to JS. So this is alert. Alert itself says it will display some pop-up message. Okay, so if I refresh this page, you can see this is a simple message box which display a welcome to JS. If I click on the OK, the message will be disappear. Okay, so now if we talk about the other properties, so where we can write JavaScript and when we can execute it. So JavaScript in a page will be executed immediately while the page load into browser, and this not always what we want. Sometimes we want to execute a script when page loads, other times when user trigger or particular events. For an example, let's say if you type or if you click on the button, at that time we need to execute a JavaScript, right? So JavaScript in body section will be executed while the page loads, and JavaScript in the head section will be executed when it called. So as we have a simple demonstration for the loading. So here you can see this is a function. The function means, I hope you know the basics of the programming. If you are not familiar, then okay. So this is a user defined function. The function name is message, and here you can see this is a simple alert control, right? And whenever your website is loaded, on load function it will call a message having a alert message box. So for an example, what I will do, simply I will define one function over here, function my demo, right? So this is my user defined function. So if you want to call this function on button click, simply you have to call this my demo, right? And on body load, so in JavaScript we have various inbuilt methods: on click, on change, on blur, on mouse over, on double click. So today I will give you a demonstration with the help of jQuery. So you can see there are lots of methods are there. On play, on pause. Okay, so you can use on load. So what we want to do on load, we have to load this function, that is a message. So my function name is my demo. So let's say if I remove this code and if I run this file, so here you can see there is no message box. But let's say if I paste over here on load, so on load, in onload method it will call my demo function and it will print one message box. So if I refresh this 1 2 3, you can see welcome to JS. Okay, so with the help of JavaScript we can perform this kind of actions. Okay, so body, as we have seen this message, if you want to print on your screen, with the help of document.write we can print a message in our website. So these are some special characters. The table below lists other special character that can be added to a text string with a backslash sign. For an example, if you want to print a new line, if you want to print something in double quotes or single quotes, then you have to follow this characters. Okay, now this is very simple thing, but yes, the JavaScript is case sensitive. I know since last 3 days we are working on the HTML and CSS, but here we have to make sure JavaScript is case sensitive, right? So don't forget about this one. Okay. So now what is next? So here you can see, if you want to print some messages, multiple messages, you can write the document dot write multiple times. This one is a H1, this one is a P1 and P1. Okay. So JavaScript blocks, let's say if you want to print multiple blocks, you can use this. Okay. Then comments. Let's say if you want to write some comments over here, for an example, this is my comment. This is my comments. In HTML, we can also define comments. In CSS, we can define the comments. For HTML, we have to use IM comments. Okay. So this is HTML comments, and this one is a JavaScript comments. Comment is used for the development purposes. Let's say if multiple developer is working on the same code, so at least they can read the instruction over here. Okay. And this content will be hidden in your website. So if you refresh this page, you can see your comment is not present over here. Okay. So what is next? So next is JavaScript variables. I know if you are a web designer, if you are working in HTML, CSS, if you love the CSS and HTML, but you also have to work with the variables. So basic programming is also required. Let's say if you want to store some value. So what is value? Variable. If you want to store some value in a particular for the further operation, so for that we have to define a variables, right? For an example, I want to do a summation of two numbers. To store the value, we have to define the variables. So this is a simple statement, or we can say this is a simple example of variable declaration. So here you can see this is my variable X and this is my variable car name, and you can specify the value. The variable X having a value that is a 5, a variable car name having a value that is a Volvo. Okay, so you can define and you can initialize your variable like this. So in JavaScript, we have a arithmetic operators. For an example, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modules, increment, decrement. So you can use this kind of operators, right? So you can perform a basic arithmetic operation in your program. Let's say if you want to take a values from the user and if you want to do some arithmetic operation, then you have to first design your layout with the help of HTML and CSS. For the addition operation, you have to focus on your JavaScript programming. So this is a group of programming: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Okay. So assignment operator is used for assigning some values, right? So by default, if you consider X having a 10 values, and if you want to assign a same value to Y, or maybe if you want to add some more values, then you can see this is equals to, plus equals to, minus equals to, multiplication, division, and modulo. So you can check the example, right? Okay. The plus operator. The plus operator used to adding string variable or text value together means we can concat the string. Okay. So if you want to display a concatenation, for an example, here you can see what a vary. This is a text 1 and this is text 2 having a nice day. So inside the text 3, you can combine two string together, that is txt1 plus txt2. So if you print txt3, it will display what a very nice day. Okay. So let's say this will be output, but let's say if you want to add some spaces over here, so you can specify double quotes and you can add some spaces over here. Okay. And then next is, let's say, adding string and numbers. So for an example, if you want to do some arithmetic operation, you can see this is X equals to 5 plus 5. It will print 10. To print the value, you have to write document.write, and inside the bracket you have to print your variable name. So let's say if I do the arithmetic and if I print the value, it will print 10. Okay, so let's say just a second, just close this, just remove this. Okay, so x equals to 5 plus 5, so it's done. And now I want to print document.write, and that is x. So if I run this, right click, open in default browser, you can see it's a 10. So let's say if you want to do this kind of arithmetic operation, then you can use the JavaScript. In JavaScript, we having if condition, loops, variables, arithmetic operators, and many more. Okay, I hope you are getting this point and you are enjoying this webinar. I know I'm a little bit faster. Okay, I'm waiting for your comments, guys. Actually, we have to cover lots of things in 1 hour, because in 1 hour, if you want to cover one particular language, then you know very well we have to increase the speed for learning and understanding. Where are you guys? I'm waiting for your comments. Yes or no? I can see there are lots of people are watching this webinar. Okay. So now let's say, yeah, surely, definitely. Okay. So now next is, let's say, you can see here we have lots of operation for the string, variable, that is a string, and integer value. Okay. So what is next? We have another operator, that is a comparison operator. This is equals to, and this is exactly with the equals to and your. So there is one simple question. What is difference between double equals and triple equals? So in double equals, it will check your value. In triple equals to, it will check your value and data type, right? And not equals, a greater than, a less than, a greater than or equals to, a less than or equals to. Okay, so this is a simple operators which is also available in the C programming. Okay, so logical operators, let's say if I want to check condition whether both the conditions are true, means both conditions are true, then we can print something. Or if I want to check whether the single condition, let's say from two different condition, maybe a single condition is true, either or, so for that we can use the or operator. Okay, and not, that you know very well, it's not operator. Okay, so next is conditional operator. JavaScript also contains a conditional operator that assign a value to variable based on some condition. Let's say if your age is less than 18, that means you are minor, right? So same thing I want to check in my programming. For that we have conditional statement. So very often when you write a code, you want to perform a different action for a different decision, right? And you can do the same thing with the help of condition operator. So we have a if condition, if else, if else, and switch statement. Okay. So if means it will check whether condition is true or not. If condition is true, then it will print something on your screen. If else, so you know very well, either we have this option or maybe this one. So if condition will check whether if you have a proper data, then it will print a particular statement. If you don't have a data, then it will print else portion, right? Same thing, if you want to check multiple condition, then we have if, else if, and the last one will be else. And the last one is switch statement. Switch is working is same as a telecaller. For an example, whenever you are calling in particular call center, so first it will ask press 1 for the English, Hindi ke liye 2 dabaiye, press 3 for Gujarati, right? And many more. So let's say if you want to do a menu driven programming, for that you can use a switch statement. Okay, so this is a simple syntax for the if. So here you can see this is a if condition, if having some condition, and here you can write your output. Okay, so what is next? So here you can see we have created one new date object, right? So you can see where d equals to new date, and I want to get number of hours. So here you can see with the help of date object we can get hours, right? The current hours is whatever. Let's say if hours is less than 10, so we will print hey good morning, right? So let's say, let me perform this code. So what I will do, simply remove this code. Okay, so what I will do here, I will write first variable d, and I will create new object of date. Okay, so then variable time, I want current hours. So you can get lots of properties are there, get hours. Okay, so simply if I want to check whether it's working or not, so you can write document.write and you can print your current time. So if I run in my browser, you can see right now we have 10 o'clock, right? So now let's say, just comment this code. I want to check if my time is less than 10, right? So print document.write, hey guys, good morning, right? Else it will print, but you have to write some code over here for else condition, right? So good afternoon, or if you want to see, we have 3 different states: good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, right? So you can write 3 conditions over here, and you have to specify the numbers, right? So let's say if I run this code, you will get a message, good afternoon. Why? Just a second. Okay, sorry. Just a second. Right now the hours is actually 10, so we have to use the double equals to. So it's a good morning, right? So we can write the condition like this. Okay, so make sure. Okay, so parseInt, with the help of parseInt function, you can convert into integer. Okay, so is there any other comments? Okay, so now next is, we have lots of topics for the today's PPT. Yes, so this is a simple example of clock. Let's say if I want to display a clock, we have a get hours, get minutes, a get seconds, right? So simply you can print hours, minutes, and second. So it will display a current clock in your website. Okay, so if else, you can use this if else conditions. Okay, so here you can see, as we have done this code previously, if hours is less than 10, then good morning, else good day. Okay, so now if else if and else statement. So now if you want to print a message like this, so if time is less than 10, you can print a good morning. If time is greater than 10 and time is less than 16, then good day, else hello world, right? Okay, so you can print multiple conditions, or you can check multiple conditions like this: if, else if, and else. And JavaScript switch statement. For an example, if I want to perform a particular block, right? For an example, as I told you before, for English press 1, for Hindi press 2, and if you are not entering some data, by default it will ask again and again, please select any option. Okay, so let's say here we can see, for an example, we have a number of days: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So your day will start with the Monday, and the Monday consider as a 1. Okay, so let's say here you can see this is a basic example. So again we have to take one new object for the date, right? inside the date object we can print or we can get the number of day. So get day, so it will give you a number of day. For an example, today is Wednesday, right? So it will print 3 in your variable. So on basis of the condition, so this condition will check whether the day is matched with the case 1, case 2, case 3 and case 4. If it is matched, then it will print a document dot write, and the break statement will break your logic. Means, for an example, if your output is matched with this one, so this break will exit from your condition. And if your date is not matched with any cases, so by default it will print, I think so, it's a weekend. Okay. So JavaScript pop-up boxes. So in JavaScript we have 3 types of pop-up boxes. One is a alert, second one is a confirm, third one is a prompt box. So alert box, you know very well, whenever we want to display some message, for that we have to use the alert. Okay. So you can see this is a simple example. On button click, on click is a method for the button. Okay. So tomorrow we will discuss about this event in the jQuery. I know in jQuery I will demonstrate some of the events, some of the animations, right? So don't forget to watch tomorrow series, because tomorrow series will be very important. That will be on jQuery and Bootstrap. Okay. So you can see this is a simple show alert message box. On button click, we will display we will call the function, and the function will display one message box. Okay. Thank you, Vaibhav Kumar, for comments. Okay. So let's say confirm box. So confirm box is often used to take a values, or maybe confirm box is used to check whether you are enjoying or not. For an example, let's say right now you are watching this webinar, and you know very well every 15 minutes or every 20 minutes I'm asking question, are you enjoying or not? You can write in the chat section yes again. So same thing over here. So confirm box is used for maybe whenever you are deleting some record from your database, so it will ask again. So are you sure you want to delete this record? Yes or no, right? So simply you can use this confirm box for okay and cancel. So let's say you can see this is a prompt, this is a confirm box, and this is a prompt box. For an example, we have 3 different boxes over here. On click, you can see this is alert box. Let me give a demo for this. Just a second. Yeah, I can see the comments. Okay, just a second. Let me check the comments. Okay. Okay, so let me give you a demonstration for this. Just a second. So just remove this. Okay. So here we can write the confirm. Are you sure? So if I run this, I know. Are you sure? Okay, and cancel. So let's say if I refresh this again, so you can see we have 2 different buttons. Okay. So you can also get the values. Let's say if you have pressed okay or maybe cancel, right? Then the second is prompt. Let's say if you want to, hi user, right? Hey user, enter some data, right? So you can use this kind of different boxes, right, in the JavaScript. Okay. So now what is next? So let's say if you want to check whether user has a click on the OK or cancel, then you can simply check with the one variable. So what we have to do, first we have to take one button, but on clicking of the button, we have to display the confirm box. So make sure first we will take one variable. So the variable will store your value, whether it will be a true or false. If it is true, then you have to check the condition. If it is true, then user has clicked on the OK, else user has clicked on the cancel. So this is one simple example of if condition. Here you can see if condition is used, and also used a equals to operator. right? Assignment operators and comparison operator. Okay. Then prompt box. Let's say if you want to take a values from the user. So let's say here you can see a variable name equals to prompt. So please enter your name. So user will enter some name and it will store in your variable that is a name. And then make sure the name having some value. For that you can check the condition not equals to null, not equals to blank. And once it is done, then you can print hello name, how are you, right? So what we can do simply, let's say if I copy this code, if I paste it over here, this is garbage value, just remove this. Okay, this is also garbage. Okay, so just a second, I think so copy paste is not always good, but it's okay. Where is my curly braces? Hey curly braces, where are you? Hey, ting, it's done. Okay, so let's say if I run this, open in default browser, it's Amit by default, but I will type Akash. Hey Akash, how are you, right? So you can see by default we have specified Amit. So if I specify Akash, so if I run this, so you can see please enter your name Akash, or you can change Arav. Hey Arav, how are you? Okay. So what is next? We have 10 more slides. I hope you are ready to learn more functions. Okay. So JavaScript functions. So functions are very useful. Why? Because let's say if you want to do the same task again and again, so every time you have to write the same code. So instead of that, what we can do, we can use a JavaScript function, means we can say user defined function. So in function, we have different methods. For an example, function with parameters, function with no parameters. Okay. So let's say you can see this is a function with return statement. So here I'm specifying some value, that is a product 4 and 3. So in product 4 and 3, this is my parameter. This is called as a parameter. Why? Because we are entering some data in the brackets. So this bracket is considered as a parameters. And in parameters, you can see the function will return multiplication of A and B. So this is example of function with return value, right? So here you can see it will return some value. Then the lifetime of JavaScript variables, let's say if you declare a variable within a function, the variable can only accessible within that function. And when you exit the function, the variable is destroyed, and this variable called a local variables. And you can local variable with the same name in a different function because each one is recognized by the function in which it is declared. If you declare a variable outside of the function, then what we have to do, we have to define as a global variable. Okay. So let's say if we talk about the loops, you know very well, I want to do the operation of printing 1 to 100, right? So let's say we have 3 different loops: for loop, while loop, and do while loop. Okay. So for loop is one of my favorite loop, right? I hope you are also using for loop most of the times when you are doing programming in your computer. Okay. Sorry. So for loop is used for printing some messages. For an example, I want to print 1 to 100, right? So the for loop is used to know advance how many times the script should be run. So for an example, this is a basic syntax. So here we have to specify the variable, start value, variable with end value, and increment decrement operator. So increment operator used for adding some value in your variable, right? So increment will be add 1 plus value in your variable. So here you can see if you want to print Hakas 5 times, so you can define one variable, that is I0. Then for loop I is 0, I less than 5, I plus plus. So this will be incremented by 1, right? 1, 2, 3, and so on. and every time it will print the number is 1, number is 2. I know it will starts from the 0. Okay, so with the help of for loop, what we can do, we can print yes, you can also use the for each loop. Okay, okay, so let's say with the help of for loop we can print the same statement again and again. Okay, the while loop is same as for loop, but here the syntax is changed. So what we have to do, first we have to specify the condition over here. Let's say you can see, so variable I equals to 0 while I less than 5, and then you can print your statement over here, and here we have to specify the increment decrement operator. Okay, so it's almost same, the syntax is changed, and the last, that is and. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed this session. I know it was very super express session was there, because we have covered lots of basics things in the JavaScript, almost 56 slides. Not 56, we can say it's a 51 slides. Okay, so let's get started with the QA session, question and answer. I know tomorrow we are going to discuss about the jQuery and Bootstrap, right? So jQuery is very important. For that, first we have to learn the basics of JavaScript. And one more thing, you can also create your file like this, my.js, right? So you can create your JavaScript file like this. This is called as an external JavaScript, same as we have seen in the CSS. And what we can do, we can write your code over here, right? Okay, so let's say if you want to take a look demonstration on ready-made templates, so you can simply search on the Google HTML templates. So you will get lots of free templates, some of the template having only CSS, and some templates having some JavaScript files, right, which are used for the validation purpose. Okay, okay, yeah, lots of people are asking for the PPT. Yeah, guys, it's the same content. You can also refer from the Google W3 schools, W3 tutorials points. It's nothing new in my PPT actually. Only the formatting is there. Rest of the content is same. Okay, so you can see this is a basic example of templates. Okay, so you can search in the Google and you will get lots of template, and you can start understanding this template structure. Okay, okay, so now as you know, we have seen lots of stuffs during these 3 days. HTML, let me increase the font size, CSS, JavaScript, and then tomorrow we are going to discuss about the jQuery and Bootstrap, and then WordPress. Okay, I hope you have enjoyed this today's session. Okay, you can write in the chat section yes or no. Okay, so now finally I'm done for the today's session. So let's get started with the QA session. Okay, Hiren sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Akash sir, for the wonderful hands-on session on the JavaScript. I hope all the participants have the practical knowledge about this session. So we would like to ask about the participants, if they have any question, they can put on the chat box. Also, we have the one question: how can we use variable outside JavaScript?
We can make it public, right? I will give you a demonstration tomorrow in jQuery, right?
Okay. If any other participants have any question, they can write into the chat box. We'll get the question to the sir. So we have one question, like, do you used for each loop in JS JavaScript?
Yes, we can use it. See, in JavaScript, we have different versions. For an example, ECMAScript. Have you heard this word, ECMAScript? ES6, that is called as a. In ES6, we can use. We have lots of array method, that is a slice, push, right? So you can use over there.
The another question from the Shivani Kothari is that is there any concept of abstract in JavaScript?
Yeah, that is advanced version ES6 that I told you before. See, this is a basic JavaScript, right? So same as we have a different version in CSS, CSS3. So same thing, we have different version, that is a ECMAScript. You can search on the Google ES6.
Then we have the question, where do we store all this data when we take from user?
Simple in variables.
And then the question is that how can use other programs inside HTML?
Let's say if you're working in PHP or maybe in any language, right? Almost most of the language allow you to add HTML tag, right? See, let's say in web development, you can use any languages. For an example, we can combine HTML with the PHP, HTML with Python, HTML with .NET, Java, many more.
Sir, the previous question, like where do we store all this data we take from the user? I think the same question asked again. Here, Miss Surangini asking about the database side.
Okay, for the database side, let's say we have to work on the server side technology, right? That is a server side technology. There are lots of server side technologies are there. So as I told you first day, web designing contains a server client side technology, that is HTML, CSS, JavaScript, right? To storing some data in your database, we have to work on the server side technology. In server side technology, you can connect your database such as MySQL, Oracle, and many more. So let's say server side technologies are PHP, ASP, JSP, Python, Django, Node, that's it, and Ruby.
And the last question is, do we use the pointers in HTML?
No.
Okay, okay, sir. So I think we are. I think we have the one more question from Dr. H.S. Trivedi. So can we use both server side and client side? So what?
Yes, definitely we can use. Let's say in any language we can use client side and server side. Let's say if you opening the Flipkart and Amazon, the Flipkart having a client side technology, that is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. The server side technology will be maybe a PHP, right?
We have the question, sir. JS and Django एक साथ use कर सकते हैं? Can we use JS and Django together?
यस, मैं वही क्वेश्चन वापस रिपीट करने वाला हूं. आप कोई भी लैंग्वेज को कनेक्ट कर सकते हो HTML. देखिए, HTML एक डिजाइनिंग के लिए यूज होता है, राइट? अगर आप सर्वर साइड टेक्नोलॉजी में जाते हो तो हर जगह आपको HTML तो करना पड़ता ही है. सो यू कैन कनेक्ट.
Okay, thank you, sir. I think we are done with all the questions. So we would like to thank Akash sir for the day 3 on the wonderful session. We would like also thank all the participants for joining on day 3's webinar. We'll be meet again tomorrow at 10 a.m. same time. We will be sharing you the new YouTube link onto your email ID on tomorrow morning. So thank you very much all of you for your time for attending this third day of webinar. We'll meet again tomorrow morning. Thank you very much. Bye bye. Have a great day.